What should I do if I'm pulled over for a DUI in Illinois?
First and foremost, don't freak out. Don't create more havoc around the scene than what's already likely presented, especially if you haven't been in that situation before. You want to give truthful answers as to the very basic information. But beyond that, you don't want to be spilling your guts and explaining where you've been and what you've been doing and how much you've had to drink, because rest assured, anything that you say at that point in time is going to go into a law enforcement officer's report and is going to end up being part of the case later on. You have the right to refuse the field sobriety test. You've got the right to refuse the breathalyzer test. If you refuse those, it obviously precludes them from having your BAC at that point in time based on the refusal, and then also the circumstantial evidence of the field sobriety test. It eliminates that. Now, understanding that you will likely get arrested and your license can be suspended for up to a year in the state of Illinois, but it does not manufacture any evidence that can be used against you. Lastly, but most importantly, after the incident, immediately contact an attorney to proceed with your rights once the report formally is received by the state's attorney's office, and then they charge the DUI.
What would you say is specifically the limited information? What is that? I mean, what do you recommend they actually say? Name, blood type, social security, you know what I mean?
Yeah, name, any sort of identifying information. But beyond that, you get a question from law enforcement, where are you headed? Or especially, where are you coming from? A lot of times, if you are coming from a restaurant or a bar or a concert or something, they're going to utilize that to form their next questions, which, have you been drinking? How much have you had tonight? So once it does start progressing into those types of questions, assert your right to remain silent, assert your right to an attorney, and just remain calm, remain respectful, but remain calm. That way you don't say anything that could potentially jeopardize the case later on.
You have a general duty to identify yourself, identify that you're a valid driver, that your car is insured, that your car is properly registered. Beyond that, you can tell them, hey, I don't answer questions, essentially run my name and give me a ticket if you're going to give me a ticket. You don't have to tell them where you're coming from, where you're going, what you were up to that night, what your plans are for the rest of the night. All that is them attempting to create fodder to say, well, he was at a bar. What does that mean? Well, it could mean nothing, but they could use it to mean something. So why give it to them?
Yeah, wouldn't you say it's their goal when they pull you over is to find a way to arrest you?
Even if it's not their goal, they're hammers. You don't want to give them the nail to try and make a DUI out of nothing.
Yeah, fair enough.
You have to prove that you're a valid driver and that all that's up to code, and that's it.